Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode. This is lesson 12 of English with Mahdi, and I'm here to teach you another 8 English words that are important. And I hope you to enjoy and pay a meticulous attention to what I am saying to improve your vocabulary even better. Okay, Shari, now let's just get started. And for the first word, we have got contemplate. Contemplate. Contemplate is of 3 syllables and the stress is on the first syllable. Contemplate. It's a verb and it means to think deeply, carefully, and for a long time about something. It often involves serious or quiet thinking, not quick thoughts. To better understanding, just imagine that a man sitting alone on a mountain at sunset, silently looking at the horizon, deeply thinking about his life. So when you contemplate, you pause and think deeply, like a philosopher, we can say, looking at the sunset. Now we have got the meaning, and now we have some synonyms for contemplate, like reflect, consider, ponder, meditate on. Just keep in mind that we have think. You can grab think as a general, but contemplate is deeper, slower, and more serious. And for the collocations, we have got contemplate life, contemplate the future, contemplate a decision, quietly contemplate, sit and contemplate. Now it is time to have some example sentences about the word contemplate. For the first example, we have got, he sat by the river and contemplated his future. The second one, she is contemplating changing his career. I need time to contemplate this decision. Finally, they stood silently, contemplating the beauty of nature. That's it, dear listeners, and now let's jump to the next word, which is speculate. Speculate. It actually consists of 3 syllables and the stress is on the first syllable. Speculate. It's a verb and it means to guess or form ideas about something without having enough information or proof. We could say that it is just like uncertain guessing. Just imagine that, for example, a group of people watching the sky and guessing what's inside a dark cloud. So, in short, when you speculate, you guess without full evidence. Now we have some similar words to speculate, such as guess, hypothesize, assume, wonder. And now we have got some common words that are usually used with speculate, such as speculate about something, speculate on something. People speculate that, widely speculated, speculate about the future, and lastly, speculate on the reasons. That's it, and now we have some examples about speculate. And for the first example, we have got, people began to speculate about the cause of the accident. The media is speculating that he will resign. We can only speculate on what happened. Experts are speculating about climate changes. That said, dear listeners, now let's have a following word, which is reiterate. Reiterate. The stress on the second syllable. Reiterate. It's a verb and it means to say something again, often to emphasize it or make sure people understand. Actually, it is not just like repetition, it usually has a purpose. For example, clarity or emphasis. Just imagine that, for example, a teacher in class saying the same important point again and again, so students don't forget. That is reiterate. It means to say it again to make it clear or stronger. Now we have got some synonyms for reiterate, just like repeat, emphasize again, restate, and some common collocations like reiterate a point, reiterate a message, reiterate a warning, reiterate the importance of something, publicly reiterate. And now some example sentences for reiterate, such as the teacher reiterated the main idea at the end of the lesson. He reiterated that the deadline was tomorrow. Let me reiterate what I said earlier. The government reiterated its warning to the public. That's it, dear listeners. Now, for the next word, we have got execute. Execute. It is of 3 syllables and the stress is on the first syllable. Execute. It is a verb and its noun is execution. It actually has 2 meanings. The first one is to carry out a planned task or action. And the second one, to officially put someone to death as a punishment. Actually, the latter meaning usually used in legal context. Okay, guys, now for the first meaning, imagine that a team planning a project carefully, then finally pressing a button and starting the action. So the time execute means turn a plan into action. Okay, now for the synonyms, we have got carry out, perform, implement, accomplish. And for the collocations, we have execute a plan, execute a strategy, execute a task, execute a project, perfectly executed, and finally, well executed idea. Now let's have some example sentences to execute, such as the team successfully executed the plan. She is very good at executing complex tasks. They executed the strategy perfectly. We need a strong leader to execute this project. That's it, dear listeners. Now for the next word, we have got mitigate. Mitigate. The stress is on the first syllable. Mitigate. It's a verb and it means to reduce the seriousness, damage, or negative effect of something. For example, just imagine a firefighter pouring water on a big fire, not to completely stop it, but to make it smaller and less dangerous. So, in short, mitigate means make something bad less severe. Now, for the similar words, to mitigate, we have reduce, lessen, alleviate, ease, and diminish. And for the common collocations, we have got mitigate risks, mitigate damage, mitigate a problem, mitigate climate change, take steps to mitigate. For the example sentences, we have the government is trying to mitigate the effects of climate change. We need strategies to mitigate risks. The medicine helped mitigate the pain. Education can mitigate social problems. That's it, and for the next word we have got impair. Impair. It consists of two syllables and the stress is on the second syllable. Impair. It is a verb and it means to damage, weaken, or reduce the quality or ability of something. We could say that impair means something still exists, but it doesn't work well anymore. For example, just imagine a person trying to see clearly through a broken or dirty glass. Everything is blurred and not as strong as before. So, impair means to make something weaker or less effective. That was the meaning of it, and now for the synonyms we have got weaken, damage, harm, undermine, reduce. For the collocations we have got impair vision, impair memory, impair judgment, impair performance, impair brain function. Now for the examples we have got lack of sleep can impair your memory. Alcohol may impair your judgment. The injury impaired his ability to work. Stress can seriously impair performance. Poor lighting can impair vision. That's it, guys. Now let's move to another word, which is prioritize. Prioritize. The stress is on the second syllable. Prioritize. It's a verb, and as a noun, it is priority, and its meaning as a verb, it means to organize tasks, goals, or things in order of importance. In order of importance. Key idea here is you don't do everything at once. You choose what comes first. For example, just imagine a student with many tasks like homework, exam, friends, putting them in order and choosing the most important one first. Now let's have some similar words to prioritize, such as arrange, focus on, give priority to. And for the collocations, we have got prioritize tasks, prioritize goals, prioritize work, prioritize your time, prioritize what matters most. Now for the example sentences, we have you need to prioritize your tasks before starting work. She prioritizes her education over everything else. We must prioritize what is most important. Good students know how to prioritize their time. That's it, dear listeners. Now let's go to the last word, which is cultivate. Cultivate. It is of 3 syllables and the stress is on the first syllable. Cultivate. It is a verb and its literal meaning is to grow plants or crops. But what I'm curious about here is It is a figurative meaning, which is to develop qualities, skills, or relationships over time. Okay, now for the synonyms, we have got develop, foster, build, encourage. And for the collocations, we have got cultivate skills, cultivate relationships, cultivate a habit, cultivate interest, cultivate a positive mindset, cultivate creativity. Now for the example sentences. Teachers should cultivate students' critical thinking skills. He worked hard to cultivate good habits. Reading helps us cultivate imagination. It's important to cultivate strong relationships. She is trying to cultivate a positive mindset. Okay, guys, so now let's just use all these 8 words in one short story in order to be more understood. Just listen carefully to the mentioned words. One evening, a young teacher sat alone and began to contemplate his future. He speculated about what might happen if he changed his path, but nothing was certain. To stay focused, he reiterated one simple idea to himself. Growth takes time. He decided to prioritize his goals and stop wasting energy on unimportant things. Then he started to execute his plans with discipline and consistency. Along the way, he faced challenges, but he worked hard to mitigate the impact. He knew that doubt and fear could impair his progress if he let them control him. So every day he continued to cultivate his skills, his mindset, and his vision. That's it. That's the end of the lesson, dear brothers and sisters. Hope you found it useful and beneficial. Best luck.